because life is all about balance. You can have a donut. You should be able to have a donut. You know, some people have more self-control than others, totally understand, but you should be able to, you know, say to yourself, and I hate like treating yourself, but I think you should be able to have what you want in moderation. But the hate that comes with it, the doubt that comes with it, the self-talk that accompanies that donut or the honey bunches of oats or the Oreos, right? That's actually what's killing us.
Yes.
It's my belief, because you genuinely believe that this is horrible for me. I'm a terrible human being for having this damn Oreo. And it's like, just eat the cookie.
The following podcast is a Healthy Dog production. Welcome to the Healthy Dog Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nigma Talib. I'm a leading naturopathic doctor now for over 20 years, and I've consulted thousands of patients with chronic illnesses. I've had clinics all over the world, and I have a #1 bestseller, Younger Skin Starts in the Gut. Listen, I know there's a lot of health information out there in the health and wellness world, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So I'm here to set the record straight and give you my expertise along with my expert guests here in studio in sunny Los Angeles.
I only take drugs with other people who take them on a regular basis because I don't have time for that.
A lot of chronic diseases stem from mitochondrial dysfunction.
Yes. And you know what I love talking about, right? Poop.
Yes. You can ask me about my poop?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about poop.
Okay, please.
This podcast is your go-to for achieving optimal wellness, from the best of beauty and longevity and everything in between, because after all, wellness comes from the inside out. This next guest is someone I've been so excited to have on because she just gets it. You know those people who speak and suddenly your nervous system calms down and your brain lights up at the same time? Well, that's her. She's helped everyone from Fortune 500 execs to creatives and entrepreneurs get unstuck and start actually feeling good in their bodies and lives. Not just ticking boxes or chasing the next thing. Her work has been featured in Forbes, New York Times, NBC News, Billboard, and her book, Thank God It's Monday, was just named one of the top 10 must-read inspirational books. It's honestly like having a pocket therapist having this book, but with more style. She's built a global community of over 600,000 souls who are here for the real stuff. Nervous system healing, emotional resets, and reminding us that we don't need to shrink to feel safe. And I have to say, she personally inspired me to launch this podcast. Her voice, her clarity, and the way she shares her message made me realize that there is a power in showing up and speaking from the heart. Wemi Opakunle is here, and this is going to be such a good one. And welcome, Wemi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nigma. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm excited for you to be here. I've been waiting for this interview, and actually, you are the reason why I've done this podcast. You inspired me from when I was on your podcast. You had so much beautiful energy, and you were really supportive when I was telling you I wanted to do my own podcast. So
I love it.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. There's nothing that I love more than supporting powerful women. You know that I'm a fan of yours, first of all. I'm a fan of all of the amazing things that you've done, and you're such a wonderful example. I think of someone who goes out there and just builds and follows their dreams. It is not easy. And I remember like our first conversation, just talking about you moving. And I was just in awe of just like everything again that you've built. Like you have amazing products, the book, everything. And then this. So this extension, I think it's just a powerful way of your creative energy continuing to flow. So it's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of this. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. You have come up with I read parts of your book, and I've just ordered another one on Amazon because I gave my other copy away. People love your book. It is, it's super, it's just something that everybody should have just to affirm and manifest and also like reset their nervous system. Yeah. But you've mentioned something like a new term that's not out there. I mean, I have one term for Dante that's very similar, big D energy.
Yes.
And I mean, that's big Dante energy.
I love that.
But you've come up with big Delula energy.
Big Delula energy. It's like, listen, I always say big D energy is for the boys. Big dick energies for the boys. We can blur that out.
Yes.
or
No, we're
sing it
keeping
out.
it.
But listen, big Delulu energies for the girls. And it came from me just talking a lot about delusion. I talk a lot about delusion on my online videos. I teach my clients this. Like, I work with phenomenal clients, and it requires some delusion to go out there and take everything like the bull by the horns and actually make your dreams come true. Like, there has to be a certain level of delusion that you have in order to be successful. So I've been talking about delusion for so long. Delulu is the Salulu is something that has been out there for a while, and it came from K-pop, language and lingo. And, a lot of people would say, oh, you're so delusional to think you could end up with your favorite K-pop star. But that's where the term came from. And I just wanted to run with it because I love the energy of that term. And so I've just been talking about big Delulu energy, which is my version of Delulu being the Salulu, delusion being the solution. And now I'm spreading the word. So thanks for helping me spread the word. There's more to come on that BDE energy, by the way.
No, I love it. It's so playful and powerful at the same time. And I think that's what we need to really, to put things in our brain and solidify, the meaning of like a semantic of something. It has to have a playful yet powerful play term. So I wanted to ask you, you talk about this other term, Delulu is the Salulu. Yeah. So is that the same? Is that the same thing?
It's the same vibe, same energy. I think what I loved is that a lot of people, when Delulu became a word, it evolved into then Delulu is the Salulu, and I've talked about that a lot. I've used that playfulness, and I'll touch on that playfulness. Which, I mean, the connection between our words and our brain and our actions, right? Mm-hmm. All of that is there, but ultimately, it's all about the power of your emotions. I think there's something to be said about when we are playful about the things that we want. I feel like it's like when you have your fist like this, nothing goes in and nothing goes out. But when you release, everything flows.
Right.
And so that playfulness of delusion, of Delulu, even that word, that play on that word, it's just allows things to just flow. And so your creativity flows. The fact that anything is possible flows. And that's what we want to bring. When we talk about manifestation, it's all tied to the power of your emotions. So just playing with the words big Delulu energy and Delulu being the Salulu and delusion in general, or the word Delulu in general, it's so playful. It just lightens your emotions. And you're like, yeah, I'm Delulu. Yeah, this could happen. Yeah, I could, build a clinic. Yeah, I could have all these amazing celebrity clients. Like, it's a fun way to, help bring your dreams to life. And so I've been just making sure that people know that, like, use that word, be playful with it, because the more you're playful, I think it's the energy that the universe hears. Also, it's a frequency that you're tuned into. And I think people respond to you differently.
Because think about it, when we're children, right? Yes. We're very playful and we have all these possibilities, even the possibility that Santa Claus exists.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's Delulu when we're that young.
Listen, Santa still comes for me.
Well, me too. So I don't know what I'm even talking about.
I'm my own Santa, listen.
So it's like somewhere along the line, we become jaded, for lack of a better word. So all those like believing in possibilities. Yeah. Why do you think that happens?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you talked about this, because a lot of the work that I'm doing now on delusion and more to come, this is the first time I'm actually talking about this work that's coming. So this is an exclusive. So I'm excited.
Okay.
But all of this work about delusion, I actually talk about how we were born Delulu. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly what you said. When we are born with this audacity, and we are born with this power of assumption, and we are born with this power of our that lives within our imagination, which is the fact that anything is possible. When a baby cries, it expects to be fed. It does not care where its mother is going to get its food. If you have to go to Timbuktu,
right,
does not care. Dante, our little pup over here, is like, "Mommy, I'm hungry. You're going to figure it out." Dante does not care where you're going to find the food. And that is the power of delusion and audacity. It's that there's an expectation that life is going to give you what you want, that life is working for you. And we are playing in our imagination. And with our imagination as kids, we're so excited by it. But we start to become adults. Life starts lifing.
Right.
We start adulting and we start to lose that power because we look at everything as being realistic. I'm a very realistic person. I mean, I'm also a Gemini, so, we swing, but back and forth. But I use my imagination, but I'm also realistic, but I don't lose when I've found myself losing that playfulness, I try to bring it back with my imagination because there's something in me that never stopped believing that there's, things that I want that can happen for me. So it's not losing it in being realistic, but actually saying, well, can I push myself a little bit and have some more imagination in my life? I think we're missing imagination in our lives.
No, we're definitely missing that. And even like we're told, don't have any expectations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't expect to get X, Y, and Z.
Right.
It's sort of
Right.
ingrained into us in the workspace. And it's almost like a mind shift, right?
Yeah.
It's like if we can shift our mind into already manifesting and already in our minds creating that situation. I can see with patients, for example, when they shift their mindset and they're doing, positivity exercise, like reading your book, they're fresh, they're brand new, and their labs change. I can see their lab markers change. Like their cortisol curves are different. Their thyroid hormones are different.
Yeah.
Their estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone levels are different.
That is phenomenal.
It's incredible how the mind can shift your chemistry, your lab work chemistry. And I can always see that when a patient's like, oh my God, I read this book and it helped me do this, this, and this. And we've done their labs and I've noted that. And I'm like, wow, I keep seeing this. This is
shift.
something I need to really correlate now going forward is that as soon as you shift your mind to a positive mindset, that's where your whole biology changes and shifts.
And it's so amazing that you say that because for a lot of people, it doesn't feel, science can't quantify.
Right.
Science can't quantify the power of your words or the frequency of your energy. Maybe in some forms of science can, right? Like we can read energy and there are markers there. But I think that there's something to be said when doctors are perplexed, when, someone comes back and they're like, well, what are you doing? And they say, I changed and I shifted my mindset. I started to believe that I can be healed. I think it works to your advantage. And to be honest, it doesn't cost you anything. We will rather go out and pay $1 million if someone is like, this potion is $1 million and it will heal you. And we'll say, yeah, I'll find the money. I'll do it. But if someone says to you, the power of your words, in addition, for example, to you going through all of these treatments can also heal you, we're skeptical about it. But we know science has also shown us that you can speak to plants and you speak to a plant through this experiment in negative words and the plant will die. And when you use positive words, the plants thrive. So we've seen this. This is actually proven. So I think it's so fascinating when we've seen what science has proven, which is when you use your words. And this is an experiment that's been done. You speak negative words to a plant, the plant dies. You speak positive words to a plant, the plant thrives. So we know that there's something there, that there's something to the power of our mindset, and a shift in perspective changes everything. But because it's free, and to what you just said before, it's like a lot of times, we are working so hard on so many other things, and there's some things that you're seeing that you're like, wait a minute, there's something here that's contributing also to your health. And I think we need to tap into that. I think bringing those two sides together, the emotional side, the spiritual side, and then the medical side can also really just have miracles happen, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, that study with the plants is so interesting because even if you think of us in our daily practices, how many thoughts do we have a day? We have 6,000 thoughts?
There's 60, actually, National Science Foundation did a thing, it's like 60,000 to 30,000 to about 60 something thousand thoughts per
So
day.
it was 30 to 60,000. I don't know why I had 6,000 in
wild.
my head. And most of them are repeating
Yes.
and negative.
Yep. They found 95% repeating. I think 85% were negative. When I quote that every time, by the way. That's why I know the moment you said it, I was like, oh my God.
I was like, was it 6 or
No.
I can't
But it's
believe
like,
it's 60,000
but it stuck
thoughts.
with you, right? Because
Yes.
you're like, I'm sure you read that and you're like, what in the world? Like, what are we doing?
Yes.
That means we're not as smart as we think we are. We're literally repeating the same thing over and over. And we say insanity, like, is literally
Right.
repeating the same thing
Expecting
over and over
a different result.
and we're like, yeah, I'm just going to keep thinking these negative thoughts. And my life is going to be great. I say every time, I remember I was going to Japan and I met this Uber driver and she was like, oh, you're going to Japan? She's like, oh, I wasn't great. So, they're kind of racist over there. She's a white woman. Obviously, I'm a Black woman. And when she said this, I was like, my heart kind of sank when she said that. And then I said, well, that's your experience. That's not my experience, right? I haven't been yet. And I was determined that I was going to go to Japan and I would have the time of my life. And I went to Japan, and when I tell you, like, so many different cities, villages, my mom and I did a cute little mother-daughter trip, the most phenomenal experience of my life. The people that I met, warm, kind. And I do believe it was the moment that I decided right there and then that I was going to have a trip of a lifetime, that my trip was not going to be the experience of this person, that I wasn't going to be affected by that my emotions, so change in perspective and shift. I do think that it helps. Not to say that there isn't racism in the world or prejudice in the world and all of these things, but I do think I can't control all of that, but I can control how I show up.
And you controlled which frequency you dialed into.
Everything is frequency,
It's
right?
frequency.
Yeah.
And
And I
it's-
always, I'm like, if you tune into a jazz station and you want to hear pop, you're not going to hear pop. You're going to hear jazz.
Exactly.
So like tune in into the frequency of what you want. And that's what the universe will serve you.
Exactly. I mean, you ask what you want and you'll
Absolutely.
get it. From PMS to perimenopause to menopause to postmenopause, I've lived through it all. And through every stage, one thing becomes clear. Hormone fluctuations change how our bodies regulate temperature, especially at night. When your body overheats, even slightly, it disrupts deep, restorative sleep. The kind of sleep your hormones, metabolism, and mood depend on. That's why I can't live without my Rani Lounge pajamas. Their advanced technology activates natural fibers, making the fabric moisture resistant, naturally fresh, and ultra breathable, allowing your body to stay cool and regulate temperature the way nature intended. Better temperature control means deeper sleep, better recovery, and a body that feels truly at ease. Whether at home or traveling, staying cool, fresh, and comfortable has never felt so effortless. Go to RaniLounge.com, that's RaniLounge.com, and use my code HealthyDog15 and get 15% off your first order and experience sleep the way it was meant to be. You talk about, in your book, you talk about burnout.
Yes.
And it whispers before it screams.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that, because I deal with a lot of burnout and patients.
And I'm sure they come to you when everything is already gone to crap, which is like you now have to build them back up and start over. But I've experienced this personally. I mean, I spent over 16 years, working in advertising, in tech, in entertainment. And which is like, I mean, there's a lot of burnout there. You do everything that you can to get through what you need to do. And I personally experienced it, and my body would whisper. Life would say to me, get out.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, I'm in this thing and I'm growing and I'm like a strong woman and I'm building all this stuff. And my body is like, get out. And then it kind of yells.
Yeah.
And finally, you're pushed out. You're pushed physically. And I hit my limits. And so when I work with my clients, a lot of what I do is try to have them pay attention. When life is coming to you with some difficult circumstances or challenges, are you asking, what are you trying to tell me? And it happens with your body as well. My body was speaking to me the entire time, saying, I'm going to break down. I'm going to break down if you don't pay attention. And we push ourselves to the limit. I don't think that how we work right now in this day and age is normal.
No, it's not. It's
not
definitely
right.
not. And we when we think of burnout, we think of somebody lying horizontal in a bed and can't move. And that's actually not even really some of the symptoms. The symptoms, the whispering symptoms are like constipation, diarrhea, insomnia, heart palpitations. Those are all the little signals and the little whispers that we get before we hit. And actually, it takes months and months to actually hit that flat line. I don't know if you've heard of that adrenal test using saliva.
No.
So you use saliva to measure free hormones. So you measure cortisol, DHEA, progesterone, and all the metabolites.
Yeah.
And it tells you what you're like in the morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. So it gives you like a diurnal variation. The morning, you need to be like wide awake. When you wake up in the morning, you need to be feeling, you know that
Energy,
zestfully clean commercial where the whole family is jumping around? That's how you're supposed to feel.
like, yes.
And then by noon, you come down a bit, and then afternoon, come down more. And then by midnight, it's gone because you should be sleeping.
Right.
But what's happening with people is I'm seeing their results the other way around,
Ooh, that's
where they're
probably
wired
right.
and tired. Right. And it takes, a turn of different cycles before you completely flatline. And the flatline is then the horizontal, and that's where you get into chronic illness.
I love that you just said that, because I think so many of us, again, we're tracking our sleep. We're trying to be more efficient with life, right? It's just like, oh my God, how am I doing this? But I found that in working in the environments that I worked in, that my sleep pattern was drastically affected, and I'm still working on it. I'm years out right now, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm a night owl, and it's very difficult for me to figure out how to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm like, how hard is this to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep? But I'm up because I'm used to doing that and then building, and so I'm working really late at night, and I know it's not great. It's getting better. I've been working on it for the past couple of months, so we're getting there. Our conversation, our first one, also was very inspiring to me. I was like, okay, listen, we gotta, and it's just consistency, trying to do that over and over and over again. Because I read there was something about, and I don't know how true the study is, but it was talking about how, having just 4 hours of sleep a night, how much it diminishes like your cells, like your productivity, everything. And it's just that's just one day. So imagine the people who are running multiple times. Even if you slept 8 hours one night and then 4 hours the next, it affects you. And I wish that this was more accessible to people, to recognize that the choices that we're making, we need to be more conscious and present.
100%. And I think you hit something really strong there with sleep. A lot of people are having problems sleeping. And the cause of adrenal burnout is that lack of rest and lack of sleep. So that's, even if you're not like working in a job that's super stressful, if you have insomnia, it's like you are working in a job, like a 15-hour day job or something like that, where your boss is like, not being your best friend, and it's, the sleep is an issue. And I think, it wasn't until 2019 that the WHO even recognized adrenal burnout as a medical condition.
That's wild.
So we're not even there, and if you look at all doctor visits, to your GP, and a lot of patients that come to me, about 80% of them are due to stress. So it's not really due to a disease, but it's due to lack of sleep, stress, all of those things that then lead to chronic illness.
And I think it's time for us to classify stress as a disease.
100%.
Because the moment we introduce stress, and that's why, just kind of thinking about going back to the idea of this delusion, which is, okay, well, what if I leaned into the fact that life is working for me? How does that reduce stress in my life? Because worry, and that's obviously tied to stress, right? We worry so much. And I think it was Mark Twain that said, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which have never happened. Because like, imagine how many things you worry about.
So many things.
And it's usually, it works itself out because we are capable. We can do hard things. We are very capable. And I tell my clients all the time, well, I have receipts. I've only just met you a couple of months. We've been working together, but I have receipts that you are capable of doing hard things. So what if we leaned into that, okay, the delusional idea that I can do hard things? How does that reduce stress? How does that reduce anxiety? How does that reduce worry? Because we're constantly on the go, and we want to fix, and we want to make things happen, and et cetera. And then I think that just, again, contributes to this dis-ease in our bodies.
I love that. I feel like it's free to be delusional.
It doesn't cost you anything. I promise. I should charge $1 million for that. But,
you should. Like, seriously, I think all of us should be delusional. And you see those people that are delusional making incredible movies, making incredible music.
Oh my God, it's phenomenal.
People like you writing incredible books that
actually. It takes a lot of delusion, right? To be like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. Why not?
It's a delusion to create that illusion, right? I mean, it's so important.
I love that. Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like very delusional sometimes when I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. I don't know how. I don't look at how I'm going to do something. I just look at what I want to do.
We're going to coin that, because listen, I believe that so much. I can't tell you how many times, Dr. Nigma, I tell people, don't focus on the how.
Yeah. It's
how
not necessary.
And a lot of times I think we are worried about perfect actions.
Yes.
And I always say, okay, math tells us the fastest way from point A to point B is a straight line. Life has never been interested in a straight line, nor has it ever been interested in speed.
And I was never good at math anyway, so.
Me neither. But it's like we're so worried about taking that straight line. You just said something right there. I just see what I want to do. And so you visualize it. There's also something to be said about the power of vision, of seeing what you need. I guarantee that every single great thing that you have accomplished, you have seen it first. Yeah, you have to. People perish and die for a lack of vision. If you cannot see it, it is impossible. An architect saw this building before it could become a building. These chairs that we're sitting on had to be visualized before they could become this. The book had to be seen. I remember saying, I see a book, I see yellow, and I see a stick figure. And that's what was in my head. And the stick figure is the fact that you can't judge a stick figure. This is our natural state, is that stick figure with its hands up in the air, in that delusional happiness of the state that we were always in, right? And you can't say, oh, the stick figure is black, white, Asian, whatever. No, it's just a stick figure. This is the core of who we are. And I always want to remind people of that. But I saw the color and I saw the stick figure, and then the words came after.
Pouring out. Wow.
You have to see it. You have to see it. If you don't see it, it can't happen. Will Smith talked about all of these like stars and people that are doing big things, right, in their lives. And it's like, you think about, you write a song, you have to hear. You have to kind of see the movement of that. You want to paint. There has to be something that kicks it off. Will Smith was the one that said, it takes a certain level of delusion in order for you to be successful. You have to believe that something that has not happened in the past 50 million something years can happen for you.
That's amazing. We just have to repeat that mantra every morning.
Every single morning. I get up and I'm like, time to be delusional. I'm like, let's be Delulu. Let's go out there. And it's funny because you said something earlier also that I wanted to touch on, which is there's this fear that we have it's been ingrained in us as adults to not expect anything. So it's this fear of failure. And my mantra is, it is impossible for me to fail in this journey. I can't fail because I'm learning something. When I decided to do a talk show, I'd never done a talk show before. It is impossible for me to fail because I'm going to learn something from it. I'm going to get better and I'm going to make it better. I can't fail if I'm learning. I can't fail if I'm discovering. And I think of it as you're a mad scientist in the lab. They never think about the eureka moment. That will come. It's all about the journey. It's never going to be about the destination. So if I'm focused on the journey and the experience and discovery and exploration, I can't fail. And I think it's good for us to just reframe that as adults. When we are creating, when we are being delusional, when we're trying to bring these dreams to life and we want to set expectations aside, you can't fail in this. And if you look at it that way, then you're able to actually show up as your best, as a learning spiritual being having a human experience. Because this is also the concepts like that, being a spiritual being. I mean, it's in religions that have stood the test of time. It's in Buddhism. It's in Christianity.
So basically, it's not possible for us to fail.
No, it is impossible for us to fail. And the reason why I say that is because you cannot fail if you approach life and you're doing from a place of exploration and discovery. I tell my clients all the time, think about yourself being a mad scientist in the lab.
Yes.
It's never going to be just about the destination, the eureka moments. That moment will come. But if you approach it just like a traveler, anyone who says, I want to travel and explore the world, they're excited to explore. They're excited to see what they're going to find. And if you approach it from that, then you can't fail because you're going to learn something. And if you approach life from a place of curiosity, not fear, you can't fail.
I want to share something that could literally slow down how you age, inside and out. Let's talk about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or HBOT. You've probably heard of it being used for athletes or wound healing, but what you may not know is the latest research is showing powerful benefits for cellular regeneration, brain health, and even reversing some biological markers of aging. Hyperbaric chamber works where you breathe in oxygen at higher than normal pressure. This process stimulates your tissues with oxygen and beyond what your body can normally get in. That extra oxygen jumpstarts your cells, helps natural repair processes, reduces inflammation, and boosts collagen production. It even stimulates the growth of new blood vessels. Studies have shown improvements in telomere length, which are kind of like protective caps on your DNA that shorten as you age. Longer telomeres, that's linked to healthier aging. If you're feeling the effects of aging, Maybe it's slower recovery, brain fog, or skin that's lost its luster and glow. Hyperbaric oxygen might be a powerful tool to help you feel sharper, stronger, and more vibrant. Go to oxyhealth.com, that's OXYHEALTH.com, and type in discount code HealthyDoc10 for your first order. You are someone that anyone that sees you or meets you, you're just glowing on the outside. And like everything, your face, your skin, like you're just such a beautiful, you emanate this light. And you say in your book, you can't glow on the outside if you're at war with yourself on the inside. I want to unpack that because that's beautiful. And I couldn't agree with that more.
And you talked about it earlier too, which is when you see people come and they change certain things, which are internal things, you see a shift in their numbers medically.
I do.
And I think like that actually is great proof. Thank you for giving me the scientific proof on that, is that I don't think that, you can do a lot of outside work and be broken on the inside. And let's start with something as simple as what we eat. So, and then we'll compare it to what we spiritually eat, right? So you can reach for your apples and your green leafy vegetables and all of the good things.
Yes.
Steamed, obviously, learn from you, steamed.
Gluten-free.
Not raw, right? But so your stomach can digest it, but you have all of these like great foods. But then imagine if you didn't reach for that first thing in the morning. You reach for snacks, Oreos in the morning, right? You're eating junk. Spiritually, I think a lot of us are also eating junk. The first thing that most people do when they wake up is they get to Instagram, and your pages are not as curated as you think. So you are just taking in spiritually a whole lot of mess before you even put your feet on the ground. The first thing that I do is I put my right hand over my heart and I say thank you in the morning. Before my feet hit the ground, I don't care what happened before, I just say thank you. Thank you for my pillow. Thank you for my bed. Thank you for my beautiful home. Thank you for my puppy Neo. Thank you for my amazing family. Thank you for life. Thank you for love. Thank you for a day that I don't even know what will come, but my expectation is that this is going to be phenomenal. And whatever comes, I know that I have the tools to be able to handle it. Thank you for that. I start with gratitude before I tap into anything else. I think that's feeding your soul. And if you don't feed your soul, the world will feed it for you. And that's what I mean by if you're broken on the inside, if it's a mess inside, everything is a reflection of what's on the inside. If we look at the mirror, you can't move your hand like this and the reflection not move. If I stand still, the reflection stands still. So everything has to start with me. And so we may look and we say, well, I'm doing all of these things on the outside. That doesn't matter. Nothing shifts until everything on the inside shifts.
It's so true. I'll have patients that take all their supplements.
Yeah.
They eat extremely well.
Yeah.
They're doing the steamed vegetables. Right. They're doing the gluten-free, the dairy-free.
Going to the farmer's market.
Going to the farmer's
everything.
market. But,
oh my gosh.
But they're so hard on themselves.
Yeah.
And, they really don't move into that belief system of themselves of being worthy of anything.
Oh my
they're
gosh.
doing
That's a word, the worthiness.
the worthiness.
Yes.
But they're doing all the things, hoping they can feel worthy from doing all the things. But if you don't believe it on the inside and you don't value that and you don't spiritually eat,
absolutely,
then there's not, you can do every single diet, supplements, drug.
Nothing changes.
Nothing is going to change. You're going to still have the heavy baggage. And even like patients of mine who want to lose weight and they're doing everything to lose the weight and they cannot lose the weight because they're holding on to this baggage and this belief system. And as soon as they let go of that,
something shifts, right?
Everything changes.
It is amazing how much we hold on to, right?
And you can eat that Oreo cookie and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
As long as you spiritually ate.
Absolutely.
I feel like you can combat, because I notice I can eat rubbish foods, when I'm spiritually connected. I know this sounds crazy, but
everything is also balanced. I'm sure you're not having an Oreo cookie every day for breakfast, right?
No. Oh my God, that would be so good. I haven't had an Oreo cookie in so long.
Mine is like honey bunches of oats. I gave that up a long time ago, and oh my God, that with like, don't laugh, but warm milk. But I was like, this is not working for me any longer, so we can't do it. But it is amazing though. Like I said this to someone, I said, it's amazing when we are talking about diets and all of this stuff, and I want to people are like, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, but then I often think, when people put a donut in their mouths, there's so much self-hatred. And so
Right.
I don't even think, I think the donut, yeah, sure, the donut is sugar.
The bonus of byproduct. Yeah.
Right? But I think
makes it
your
worse.
hate actually is worse than the sugar that you're putting in your body. Because life is all about balance. You can have a donut. You should be able to have a donut. You know, some people have more self-control than others, totally understand. But you should be able to, you know, say to yourself, and I hate like treating yourself, but I think you should be able to have what you want in moderation. But the hate that comes with it, the doubt that comes with it, the self-talk that accompanies that donut or the honey bunches of oats or the Oreos, right? That's actually what's killing us.
Yes.
It's my belief, because you genuinely believe that this is horrible for me. I'm a terrible human being for having this damn Oreo. And it's like, just eat the cookie.
Seriously, I mean,
Be happy.
I go to Paris and I'll drink the wine and eat the bread and I'll lose weight. And I'll be like, maybe I
the
was just happy.
Energy. You love
also
that
better-
croissant. Listen, when I eat that croissant in Paris, I help myself to a whole baguette and I just sit there and I'm like, we're having half of them. Like, okay, we're having more than half of it. And I have some fromage with it. And I'm just like, this is fantastic. And I feel good.
And then I come back to the States and I eat one salad and I gain 5 pounds. I'm like bloated. I'm like, what is going on? What's in our food? Or is it our thoughts?
Right,
You know,
or
is it
both.
our you know, what's happening?
Yeah, I think it's both. It is obviously our food. And we talked about this the first time we met too. It's like the stuff that's going in our food, the simplicity is gone. And when we overcomplicate things, it's the same thing with your emotions. If you overcomplicate the emotions around eating that thing that you have labeled bad, right? Which is just like, oh, I can just have a donut or a baguette and I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a sandwich, a baguette sandwich at the park and I'm relaxed. Like, it's not hating it going in your body.
No, I agree. We have to have some kind of also emotional hygiene.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
So we're brushing our teeth.
Right.
Right. We're washing our face. You know, I always tell my patients cleansing the skin is the most important because
Yes.
everybody thinks it's the other stuff, but it's
Yeah.
actually like cleaning your skin. So we have this level of hygiene where we floss our teeth, we brush our teeth. But what about the emotional hygiene?
I know. And I think we ignore that because it's not visible. And we don't recognize how the things that are not visible are the ones that actually make the greatest impact, right? So you talk about clean skin, that's foundation. Your foundation, no matter what, your skin, if you do not cleanse, if you do not take care of, makeup doesn't look good on crappy skin, right? So if you're not, or skin that's not taken care of is what I should say. But if you don't cleanse, if you don't nurture that skin, everything that you put on it is just going to look not great. So it's the same thing emotionally. How are you showing up in the world? I always say, look around you and see, you know, what you're seeing in your world. It is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. A lot of people are like, God, people are just terrible human beings. And then they're surprised when they keep meeting terrible human beings. And I say to myself all the time, I was on TikTok Live the other day. I've been doing like TikTok Lives now. It's like my new thing. But it's been great to like connect with the community and people always have questions. So it's a chance for me to answer the questions. So I do like Mondays and Thursdays at like 6:30 Pacific. But it's really interesting when people will say, someone said in the comments, they're like, oh, this is where the winners hang out. And I said, ding, ding, I love that. I said, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put that as the thing every single time people log on to a live with me. This is where the winners hang out.
Oh my God, I want to hang out there.
Because I said I attract winners. I always meet the most phenomenal people, you included. It is not by accident. It is very much deliberate. I attract phenomenal human beings, phenomenal women, entrepreneurs, people who are building, and men too, right? But I do attract amazing people. Yes, there are some strays that make their way sometimes, but you know, my energy repels them. And I'm like, not here. Keep it moving.
I like that we tune on to the same radio station.
Yes, absolutely. We are on a good frequency.
Let's talk about some examples of emotional hygiene.
Yes. Well, it depends. Like we talked about this, like what's the first thing that you do in the morning? So I start with gratitude.
Okay.
And we can do things that are very, very simple, a gratitude practice. And I'm not talking about, you know, people are like, oh yeah, you know, this fancy manifestation gratitude word. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. Let's just look at gratitude as simple acknowledgement. If you can acknowledge the things that you have versus focusing on the things that you don't have, that's gratitude. So you don't have to fake it till you make it when it comes to gratitude. You just have to look around you and see what you have. And when I look around me, I do feel privileged to be able to wake up in my home and to be at peace, to not be, you know, in where I don't have peace. There are people living in war zones. There's so much poverty. There's so much out there. It is a privilege to have the life that I have and that you have. It is
It's so, I was just saying this yesterday to my friend. I was like, we are so privileged.
so privileged.
We're not living in an area where we're bombarded by war. We don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And it's frightening seeing some of the images that we're seeing. And it's incredible, like how lucky we are and how
lucky.
we need to make sure that, you know, we do our part in society. And part of it, I think, is tuning into this frequency and bringing other people on to join us.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely. Because it's not easy to go from feeling really crappy to feeling really good. And there's like, I often share this blast formula, which is, you know, it helps you feel better. I actually have it as a product on my page, which is like, feel better in 5 minutes or less. It is very much actually, weirdly enough, on emotional cleansing, because you have to feel good in order to bring good things into your
So
life.
can you give us a sneak peek? at
Yes,
what that
absolutely.
is?
I will say the first and most important thing, the B in the blast formula stands for being present. And I think most of us are not present. So that's a very simple practice that you can start now. This conversation, there's nothing going on in my world right now that is more important than me sitting here with you. I am here and I'm fully here with you. There will never be another moment like this, exactly like this with me and you in this moment. And it's never not now. It's never not the present moment. The past was once now. The future, when we get there, will be now. Now is all that exists. And we're missing out on the now. So many of us live in the past and we live in the future. We rarely live in the present moment. We're always, well, what about this? Well, why can't the present moment be good enough? And I think that all solutions live in the present moment. And if you don't have it yet, when you get to that next moment, it will happen and it will be now again. So just recognizing when you ask yourself, when, you know, there's conflict or there are challenges, I think ask yourself, first of all, what is happening and what is the story that my mind is telling about what is happening? Because those are two different things. There's usually what is happening. So let's say Dante starts barking. What's happening is Dante's barking. The story that we might tell is, oh my God, has Dante ruined the take? And what will happen after this? And it's like, no, Dante's just barking and the barking will pass and we'll get on with what we're doing.
Right.
So it's not as serious when we bring it into the present moment. And part of the blast formula is also leaning into gratitude. Can you acknowledge what you have? We have the space. We have our mics. We have the vitamin C cocktails. We have we have each other. We have everything that we need in this moment. Can we just be grateful for that? And I think all of that brings you into this space of, again, like letting the turmoil go and cleansing yourself emotionally, because we cannot control what happens, but we can control how we respond to what happens. That's the only thing we have control over.
I've built my entire clinical philosophy and even wrote a book called Younger Skin Starts in the Gut around one simple truth. If your gut isn't optimal, nothing else works. Genova Diagnostics GI Effects Test is the gold standard in functional stool testing, mapping your microbiome, digestion, inflammation, and nutrient absorption with clinical precision. It's a crappy job, but someone has to do it. And no one does it better than Genova. Visit genovaconnect.com and use my code HEALTHYDOC15 for 15% off your first stool test. Incredible. I feel like I just got a therapy session. That was great.
These conversations is great therapy.
Canceling with a therapist next week. Don't need it. I got Wemi.
Oh my God. Yes, with pleasure.
I do. For me, what I'm also doing, and those are two things that I didn't even think about, but I think they're the most important things. Obviously, you think, you know, gratitude and, you know, being in the moment, but it's just something like we take for granted that we think we do, but we don't really do it. And
so
it's
we
free.
don't have, there is something to be said about the psychology of the fact that we don't value things that are free.
I know.
Isn't that
It's
wild?
so wild.
Yeah.
But if it's $10,000 for a piece of paper in the middle of a frame, we want
You're
it.
like, is there gold in it?
That's
I'll take
art.
it.
That's
It's
art.
I know. Look at all of the things we call art because
know.
someone put value on it.
Right.
Money is just paper, printed paper. And we have created value around it. So it's the same thing. Like most of the tools that we need are accessible. And my work is always to say, we are sitting on gold. And it is my job to let you realize, to help you realize what you're sitting on, to help you open up and utilize these tools that you would not normally reach for, but those tools are there for you.
They are. And I've started doing things like journal writing.
Yes. Yes.
Because we even can see that journal writing can reduce your stress levels by 40%. It's huge because imagine you've got things in your mind, right? All those negative
Yep, the
repeating
repetitive
thoughts.
thoughts,
But if you
yeah.
start writing it down, you'll start to notice that you're repeating
You're
yourself.
releasing. Well,
and
it
you're
makes sense,
releasing.
right? Exactly. Energetically, you're releasing that
You're
too.
releasing
Wow.
it. So that is one of the things. And then I shake it off.
Oh, I like that.
You know that song, Shake It
Shake
Off?
it off, shake it off. A good dance party is great for stress, by the way.
Totally, totally. And you look at dogs. What do? They shake. They shake, you know, when they get up in the morning, they shake. When, you know, when you tell them to come over to you, they shake
they
before.
shake.
So they like, you know, those
Shaking
are,
off the previous energy.
Yes.
I love that.
so I think like some of this kind of energy hygiene, I think we should like almost you do robotically. Like, are you in the morning doing the gratitude? Is it just like a
Every single
robotic
morning,
thing?
literally. And it's like a weird thing that it just came naturally I just wanted to feel my heart.
Oh.
It was just a connection, and it wasn't anything that was, you know, fancy. It was just the first instinct for me to say, oh, I'm so grateful, or I'm so
Right.
thankful, you know, for being here for this moment. And that was it, right? So I'd say to people, well, if you want to embrace yourself, right? It's like whatever it is that you want to do, it just felt instinctive for me to just like, you know, touch my heart.
Right. Dante's like,
Dante's
he's
like, yes.
growling of happiness.
I know, he knows.
He's like, this is true. I growl when I try to like get my.
But you know, Dante also, because we talked about this, you know, I have a puppy, Neo. He's a toy poodle, but Neo teaches me about presence all the time. Because Neo is not worried about the future or the past. I mean, I can't know what he's thinking, but I can guess. But
He's like,
literally-
Mama's feeding me.
He's like, she's got it. She will handle it. She's going to go to work and she's going to make all this money so that I can be a fancy dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fantastic. I will do that. And I love taking care of him. And if I love taking care of him, why wouldn't I think that life would support me and take care of me? Right? If I would never let my dog starve, and it's not to say that everyone does that for their dogs, but let's hope that we all have some humanity in us and we do take care of
Yes.
nature and things. And I think animals and nature can be our greatest teachers. But I will look at Neo sometimes if I find myself worrying, and I'll just pause and look at him and I'm like, huh, he's just there. And he does not, if Neo sees crazy, he crosses the street. If there's commotion, he's just like, we're just going to go this way. And I'm like, he chooses his peace.
Wow.
And I always ask myself that question. There's one thing that I say to my clients all the time. Is it worth your peace of mind? Every time something comes up in your practice, in your work, with your friends, with your husband or your wife, is it worth your peace of mind? There's nothing that I have found that has been worth my peace of mind. It immediately brings you into the present moment the minute that you ask that question. Okay, this has come up. Is this worth my peace? And I'm like, no, it's not.
See ya.
No, it's not. I'm like, it's not. I'm sorry. I will tell people, I'm like, you're not worth my peace. You're not worth my peace. I wish you the best. You are not worth my peace. We're done here. Comments, you know, on Instagram, if you're online, if you're creating, if you're building, we are also terrified of criticism, right? Not everyone's going to love you. Not everyone's going to love your stuff. It is good practice to say, this person is not worth my peace of mind. Your opinion is not only none of my business, but it is also not worth my peace of mind.
Not at all. And also your nervous system doesn't lie, right? You talk about that. I want to go into that a little bit more. Explain what that means to the listeners now. Like, what does it mean that your nervous system doesn't lie?
I think it is tied. I always talk about your internal GPS, and I think that is very much tied. It's our body, right? It's there. Just like you have in your car your GPS and it's saying turn right, turn left, right? Or it's like there's traffic ahead, or, you know, make a U-turn. I think our internal GPS is tied to our nervous system. And so a lot of times when I talk about the power of intuition a lot, and I tie that to your internal GPS.
Oh, I love that.
It's
Your
always-
intuition. and your
it's always
GPS.
speaking to you. Now, it doesn't speak, I will say it gives you direction. It's not a yapper, right? Because
Right.
imagine if your GPS just yapped all the time, you'd be like, okay, shut up. Like,
You'd stop
you just
listening
need-
to it.
exactly. You're like, or it
Yes.
just becomes really just dull and it's just monotonous and all of that stuff. But it will speak when you need to turn, just like it'll whisper when the stress level is getting higher or when you're not supposed to be somewhere. It's like, well, maybe don't go to that place today. Or, you know, you meet someone and you're like, oh, their energy's off. We say that often. You're like, yeah, I just didn't feel their energy was a little off. And we just toss it aside. Believe it. Believe your nervous system, believe your internal GPS, believe your intuition. It's speaking to you. It's a pointer. If something is not right when you meet someone, then allow that pause to happen. You are allowed to interrupt your own process. You're not a robot. So you can pause and step back and allow the situation to unfold. And then you can make a present and conscious decision in terms of how you want to interact with that person. And they don't have to become a friend. Maybe they're an acquaintance, right? Or maybe they're just coworkers and you just leave it as that. But
You don't get into business with them.
that part.
It's your gut feeling. It's like you know
absolutely.
something is not right. And that's your vagus nerve, right? Like we
Yeah.
have the vagus nerve, which is by the way, the largest cranial nerve. And it goes all the way from the base of your brain all the way down to your gut. It passes your lungs, your liver, and it really like is that kind of radio system that
Right.
sort of tells you what's going on.
Yeah.
And when we're in a good place, when our vagus nerve is stimulated and operating optimally, then we are reading all these signals and cues.
right.
But when we're overstressed, the vagus nerve shuts down.
Yeah.
So I think that's when we can start to read the messages wrong. But
Yes.
when you get them, believe them.
But you just said something that I never even put two and two together. The fact that we say trust your gut, right? And
Yeah.
you and I talked about this the first time when we had our conversation. You said, the gut is like a brain, right? It's like a second brain. And that's how important it is. I hadn't put two and two together in terms of like even migraines and gut, what was happening in the gut for a very long time. It wasn't until I started to, actually see what I was eating and what was triggering certain things. And I was like, wait a minute. So it is like a brain operating on its own. But when we just nonchalantly say, trust your gut, I think there's something there, right? In your gut
Oh, yes.
that is tied, like you said, to your brain and everything else in your system. So once again, your system is speaking to you.
Well, you have more serotonin receptors in your gut than your brain, which are feel-good
I did
hormones.
not know that.
So, all our depression, all our anxiety, everything starts from the gut.
So everything that you also feed your gut either brings that down
Yep.
or it helps elevate it.
So your spiritual feeding and your feeding.
Yes,
the
literally,
steamed
it's still
vegetables
there.
and all
Yes.
this. And the Oreo
And
cookies.
Oreo cookies. Everything is in the gut. Oh my God.
So I guess the key is like tuning into our nervous system and just, listening to our body. And when something doesn't seem right, it's
Probably
not right.
isn't. I think most of the time it won't be. It's not to say that the body doesn't, sometimes it'll put up an alarm or a flare because of lived experiences, past lived experiences. And I think it's okay for us to honor that as well. But ultimately, I do think that, again, as spiritual beings having a human experience, that we know what the hell we're doing. And the body is there to support us. The body is not working against us, and neither is life. Life is not. And, we are the only ones that think that we're not connected to nature, by the way. Everything in nature is connected, but we always feel very separate. We're like, oh, plants are just plants. And, someone is like, well, look to nature. It's like very woo woo and frou frou. I'm like, plants talk to each other all the time. Plants talk to birds. Land here, don't land here. And we're not separate from this cycle of life and from nature. And I think nature is such a good example to watch how nothing is wasted. A leaf falls and the ground absorbs and it feeds it back as nutrients into the plant, and then it blooms again. And there are these cycles that are happening. So anytime I'm also feeling a little off, I'll ask myself, well, I'm new to this game of life, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I've come multiple times before, but I look around me and I see how nature is managing the challenges of life.
Wow.
And what can I see and learn and trust from that? Because I'm not separate from it.
No, it's fascinating. We're not separate. We're one.
Yeah.
True wellness lives in the smallest details: the air you breathe, the water you wash with, and the surfaces you touch. That's why Koala Eco, with their beautiful botanical ranges for home, laundry, body, and even pets, is the only brand I trust. Elegant living without compromise. Visit koalaeco.com, that's KOALAECO.com, and use my code HEALTHYDOG15 for 15% off your first order. If people listening could reclaim one belief about themselves,
Yeah.
what would that be?
I would say I would go back to the fact that, again, it is impossible for you to fail in this journey. I think if people can take one thing away, if you know that it's impossible for you to fail, it means that all of the fears, everything that you think will fall apart, if God forbid you make an imperfect move, right? If God forbid you take a quote unquote wrong turn because we're afraid, oh my God, I'm terrified. I always say, okay, so I drove from, Hancock Park to the West Side, right? there are many paths that I could have taken. There's the freeway path, there's the scenic route, there's, this street, that street. And there are many ways where we get to places here in LA. There are many ways for you to get to your future. And whatever path you choose is the right path. And the universe has an amazing way of course correcting, I think. So again, if you look at it as, if I know that it's impossible for me to fail, then I can, again, approach my life from a place of curiosity.
And delusion.
I
love that. I'm
like,
going to be...
Yes, audacity. I'm like, have an audacity of a mediocre person. Go out there and just be audacious, because mediocre people don't care. Mediocre people are just like, yeah, it's not me, it's you.
Yes.
They're just like literally people who don't care about how much talent they have and how much, they need to. And we are worried about, oh my God, if I don't do this one thing perfectly, I'm going to be a loser. And I say all the time, like Serena Williams, she lost many matches. No one in their right mind would ever say Serena Williams is a loser. Beyonce has fallen on stage. Nowhere would they say, oh, that Beyonce, she's a loser. She fell on stage one time. No, they're amazing, phenomenal performers because they have the audacity to get up and do. So while you're talking, someone else is doing.
Yes.
While you're waiting to be perfect, someone else is practicing and actually becoming better, perfecting their craft.
What's keeping you grounded and alive right now? I know you're doing some really incredible things. Can you give us like anything?
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. So there's more on the delusion fronts coming, which I'm
can't
very
wait.
excited. I can't wait to share more. But I think a lot of what I'm doing right now is I'm in a space where I feel like I've never been more creatively fulfilled. And I feel that is a true privilege. I'm someone who has always had like multiple jobs. So even when I was in tech and entertainment, I was building a business. I started my very first business when I was 24. I'm 41 now. So there's been a lot of businesses in between. There's been a lot of failures. There've been a lot of successes. There's been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of grounding. And I think looking back at that journey, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. That to me is incredibly grounding. I have tried to let go as much as possible of worry and just kind of release that because it has not actually done anything good for me. So releasing some worry, trusting in the journey is exciting because there are opportunities that I could never even dream of that are now unfolding. And I'm just like, this is exciting. And the more I am excited, the more exciting things keep happening.
I love that.
So
That's brilliant. And my very last question I have for you, and I ask all my guests this, is a love language. Do you know the 5 love languages?
do,
I
and
forget them
love
all the
it.
time, but I
it's
wrote
like
them down this time.
touch and then like words of affirmation and, acts of service. And there's like a
Receiving
Receiving
gifts.
gifts. Yes.
Quality time.
Quality time. Yes.
What are yours?
Ooh, okay. I'm glad that you said like the few, because before I used to say absolutely words of affirmation. But then I feel like in my late 30s till now, I didn't realize how much I love quality time, because I'm a person that spends so much time with people that I want to go in and just like, recharge and not be around anyone.
Yes.
But I do love, with quality people, the quality time does mean something. And I'm a good gift receiver, as I love to give gifts too. But I'm like, yes to gifts. I always say yes. I'm like, thank you.
I feel like my love languages have changed as well over time.
It evolves, right?
It totally evolves. It's never the same.
know.
Well, I'm glad gifts are one,
And I love surprises too.
because I have a gift for you.
Oh my God.
It's probably a gift you're not, ever in a million years would accept, even think about getting.
Oh
but
my God.
I think you're going to love it. It's a poop test.
We love talking about poop, me and you.
So
This is great.
It's a 3-day poop test. It's a test I do on all my patients and people that I love. So if you ever receive a poop test from me, you know that I love you dearly
I feel the love from you.
and that
This
I'm
is
grateful.
amazing.
So it's going to measure all the good guys living in your gut, all the bad guys, and it's going to look at how you're absorbing your food. It's an incredible test. And
Oh my God, I've never been so excited to poop in my life.
and it's 3 days.
Oh my God.
Because we want to catch all of the potential parasites.
Right.
And then you just send it back to the lab and I get the results. And then I will sit down with you and go over a plan on how to remap your gut microbiome. Because we want those
I
gut
have
feelings
say,
to be
this
good.
is actually the best gift. It is wild what you get excited about. Also, like the older you get, you're like, this is the best gift I've ever received. This is care. Thank you. I am excited. Again, I've never been more excited to poop in my life.
Get excited about pooping.
I'm gonna be on this. I am excited because we like always have fun conversations about poop. And I told you, I said, in my household, we talk about poop a lot. My mom is always asking,
Oh,
how
yes,
often are you
that's
pooping?
right.
Are you pooping?
Oh my God, she's gonna love this.
She's gonna love it. She's gonna be like, God, this is like the dream gift.
She's going to be like, you really are delusional.
Something in me manifested this. I know it. I just know it.
I love it. And Wemi, how can people find you?
Yes. So I am all over the socials. So Wemi Opakunle. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. My the Wemi Show, the talk show, is on YouTube. And then more coming. Even possibly a book. We'll see. Next one.
Oh my gosh, I
More
can't
to
wait.
come. Yes.
Well, this was an amazing conversation. I've really learned so much personally from this, and I'm going to incorporate all of those morning rituals.
Yes.
Thank you
I'm
for
so
being
glad.
here, Wemi.
It is such a pleasure. And thank you for being, again, such a phenomenal example. I see, I meet so many amazing women. And when I met you, I was like, it felt like such an honor and a privilege. It's so lovely to be here with you and to spend this time with you. And I always learn something from you, which is, again, I ask a lot of questions. I'm a curious person, but I'm always like soaking in information. And thank you for everything that I have learned so far. Are we cheersing?
We're cheersing.
Oh my God.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Dante.